Hello there, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, the 8th of June 2021, and you're welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro TV. We are coming to you live from our studios here at North Ridge in Accra. Coming up in this bulletin. And MP for Northern Okujeto Blakwa yet again exposes the alleged release of 142 million Ghana cedis for the construction of the National Cathedral in 2020 by the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta. And families of murdered victims of an armed robbery attack in Kalariga, a suburb of Tamale, last Tuesday agitated demand full-scale investigation and justice. And a bizarre development where a 15-year-old girl in the Ofuase Ayerebi constituency of the Eastern region reportedly stripped naked, beaten and sexually abused by a gang led by her stepfather. Bring you details on that. And in business, we'll tell you more about the inflation and how it is going now. These and many more stories coming up in this bulletin. My name is Desmond Okrekudans. When we are streaming live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana and also live on DSTV channel 277. Now let's begin from Tamale, where an armed robbery attack in Kalarigi on Tuesday evening claimed the life of 3 persons, including one Al-Hassan Swale, a radio presenter with Tamale Bay's Nisim FM.
The armed robbery incident in Tamale resulted in the death of one of the suspects and 2 other victims. 2 other victims sustained gunshot wounds and are receiving medical attention. According to the reports, the group of robbers shot and killed a mobile money vendor and 1 other person after robbing him of his money, making this the second robbery incident within 48 hours in Tamale. Residents of the area, after hearing the gunshots, managed and overpowered 2 of the suspected robbers, killing 1 at the spot. The other suspects was rescued by the police and he's currently at the Tamale Teaching Hospital receiving medical attention.
And we'll be getting to Tamale and speak to our regional correspondent who will be bringing us more on that. And Al-Hassan Dibaba is our correspondent there. Al-Hassan, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. What more can you report with respect to the situation?
All right, Desmond, thank you so much. This morning, we went to the families of the victims and we spoke to them, and they promised to deal with anybody or any Fulani person coming close to the area, because according to them, those who carry out the attack were Fulani people. And this has been the trend in Tamale. Almost all the attacks that have been taking place in Tamale are always been done by Fulani people. And that is raising so many challenges with the people around the area, especially with regards to the Fulani communities or Fulani people staying within Tamale. Meanwhile, we visited the Tamale Regional Police Head Command to speak to them, or for them to speak to us as to what they are doing with regards to this incident. But we were not able to speak to them because a letter was given to them some time back directing that they should not grant any interview to the media for now until until they direct them to do so. Meanwhile, 2 Fulani people were also attacked in the area by residents of the area after the mobile money attack, and 1 Fulani man was killed and the other one severely injured, who is currently at the Tamale treatment. Currently is the fact that those two Fulani people were not part of the attack. The attack happened by Fulani people, but those 2 Fulani people were not part of the attack. But the people were so angry that they were not ready to see any Fulani man around the area again. And unfortunately for those 2 Fulani people, they were passing and the people grabbed them, killing 1 person and injuring the other. Meanwhile, security is being beefed up in Tamale. If you go into the township of Tamale, you can see that security people are patrolling just to ensure that, or just to ensure that are felt by the citizens of the area. many residents of the area, I mean Kalaro and other areas within Tamale, are also calling on the regional minister and mayor of Tamale to beef up security, because according to them, they are not doing much with regards to security of the city. And this is not the first time we are experiencing something like this in Tamale. Mobile money vendors attack and snatch cars are becoming very normal in Tamale. These things are happening mostly on weekly basis, and people are quiet over it. So the residents of the area are not happy for how silent the Resek and Mesek are with regards to the security situation in Tamale. Meanwhile, residents of
to the families of the victims, what have they been telling you?
We spoke to the brother of one of the victims, who promised that they are going to attack any Fulani person if the person is seen within their area. And they even promised that there are some Fulani area houses within the area which they promise to deal severely if nothing is done about what they are going to do. According to them, the victim or their brother has wives and so many children. They are wondering who is going to be taking care of them. And for that matter, if nothing is done at all, they are going to take the law into their own hands to act for their brother, which is going to be an unfortunate development. So currently, that is what is happening in Tamale, and we are still following events to see what will transpire.
All right, thank you very much, Alhassan D. Baba. Please do keep your eyes on the ground. We'll get back to you in that subsequent bulletin. So that was our regional correspondent in the northern region, Alhassan D. Baba. Well, still in the northern part of the country, the police service in the Upper East region has yet to effect any arrest following yesterday's sporadic shooting in Boko, which resulted in the loss of one life. Many were left injured in the latest Boko chieftaincy turmoil. The deceased, whose name is only given as Yakubu, is said to be a nephew of the Boku Nama Zugran Abugrago Azigri Azoka, a source close to Metro News has revealed. Family members of the civilian who was shot dead are calling for the removal of security personnel from their community due to their inability to pick up the suspect. And let's get onto the lines and speak to the assembly member for the Gingande electoral area, David Adoleba, for more on this. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. What is the current situation in Boko?
The situation is calm, and people are moving with their businesses as usual.
Okay, well, the family, they are demanding for the removal of police personnel in the area. What exactly is their reason for this?
Yesterday at around 7:30 a.m., the family head gave me a call as the assemblyman of the area to come and intervene because the military has shot their brother and son down, and they attempted going to take the boy to the nearest hospital for treatment. But when they got there, the military denied them the opportunity to save the life of the young man. And so they wanted me to come as their assemblyman so that we can help convey the young man to the hospital. Unfortunately, the young man passed on. Now, what we gathered was that the young man was shot from far. So in any case, everybody who understands what the law says is that they have disarmed him once his legs have been shot. But the military man came directly on him and fired on his ribs. And the young man passed on. And so the family are thinking that that is unprofessional, because the laws of the nation allows anybody that is misbehaving in any form to be tried at the law courts. There is no law that gives any military man the right to shoot and kill. And for that matter, the family are not happy and they are demanding for justice.
Hello. Okay, I think we've lost him there, and we'll get back to him for more on that. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sure. I thought we had lost you there. You are the assembly member for the area. What are you doing in your capacity to make sure that there's calm in the area?
I have been part of the peace process I am talking within the community. We speak with colleague assemblymen from the other side on how we can bridge peace. But what we are seeing, it appears that the military are not being professional. If you remember, 2 months ago, they went to a certain community, shot people and burned items, then our MPs had to come down. We were thinking that after this, there should have been a change. Because no matter how criminal somebody is, we know that the rule says that even in Ukraine and Russia, where there's war today, once they disarm somebody, they don't kill the person. And so we are surprised that the people that are here to protect us are the people seen killing us. The question we would like to ask the military high command is whether that is how they do peacekeeping when they go to foreign nations. Because the conflict started that night till the next morning. Nobody died. And if at the end of the day the peacemakers, the peacekeepers, are the people seen killing the people, then it means we are not safe. And so we are calling the military high command to check the people in Boko, the military in Boko, find out what the problem is. Is it that they are getting tired because openly they make statements to mean that they are fed up? And you and I know that in other organizations, when people get fed up, they resign. Once you are at post, it means you are ready to serve. And your duty is to protect life and property. You were deployed to Boko to ensure there is peace. And so if you come and instead of ensuring that there's peace, you are rather found engaging directly and killing people. It has so many questions that we are not able to fathom. Okay. And so we are calling the military high command. This is the third time we are calling on them. They should check their men on the ground. Find out, or is it that they have given them the direct instructions that they should come and kill? We are not getting it. Because after firing the young man's 2 legs, then he laid on the ground. Then a military man will walk close to him, shoot him on his wrist, and kill him. It's something that we are trying to understand.
Okay. Thank you very much, David, for talking to us here on Newsbeat. That was David Adoliba, the Assembly Member for the Gigande area. Now let's move to the Eastern region, where a 15-year-old basis 6 girl in Ofuase in the Achimansa district and the Ofuase Ayirebi constituency of the Eastern region has been sexually molested by a group of neighborhood young men on the instruction of her stepfather for her waywardness. There's more in the following report. We'll bring you more details on that in a bit, but let's stay here in Accra, where 2 people have been left injured following an alleged dynamite blast at Santa Maria in Accra. It is still unknown what triggered the incident, but residents in the area say they are living in fear. The explosion is said to have happened around 3 p.m. Tuesday afternoon.
A lady identified as Gladys Fiavi is said to have been caught up in the blast, resulting in the removal of her toenails. In an attempt to rescue Gladys, a pregnant woman who visited the scene fell unconsciously and was sent to the hospital for medical attention. In an interview, the assemblyman for the area explained he got the wind of the incident after he rushed to the place where the explosion occurred.
Around 3 o'clock p.m., I had a call from one of the residents in Ankorfo police station complaining that there's an explosion in the area, something like a dynamite blast. So I had to rush to the scene. I reported to NADMO and all the stakeholders involved. So we went to the scene, and unfortunately, we can't even locate where the issue came from. But they just heard a blast boom like that from the ground. And honestly, the lady who got involved, her name is Gladys Fiave. She's hurt, the toe, all the toenails are vanished with blood squeezing out and all this kind of stuff. And this also pregnant woman who was trying to come to the scene to come and rescue her sister, but unconsciously she fell. And so that is what happened. So currently the police and the NIB and other security agencies are taking in charge of it and doing investigations. But I would like to use your medium to also appeal to the necessary quarters and the stakeholders involved to come and then come to our aid and solve this issue once and for all for us, because honestly, we don't know when it's going to happen again.
Eyewitnesses who helped in transporting the wounded lady to the Anya Polyclinic said they have never seen anything like that happen in the area before. Due to this, the residents have condoned off the area where the explosion took place to prevent others from going near the site. Meanwhile, the assemblyman says the police and the NIB and other security agencies are undertaking investigations into the incident. The injured are said to be responding to treatment.
Now let's do some other stories. And the Member of Parliament for Nocton has once again alleged that Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta released an amount of 142 million Ghana cedis for the construction of the National Cathedral in 2020. Samuel Kujeto-Ablakwa said the release was for planned activities of the project. There's more in the following report.
According to Samuel Kujeto-Ablakwa, the said release was upon the request of the Chief of Staff at the Presidency, Frema Osei Opare. In a social media post on Wednesday, June 8, the lawmaker said, so far, 200 million Ghana cedis illegal funds have been released for the project. The outspoken lawmaker has been on crusade against the release of the unbudgeted fund for the project. In fact, he had earlier claimed that the government released an amount of 32 million Ghana cedis to Sir David Adjaye and Associate Limited in 2021. An allegation the Deputy Minister for Finance, John Kuma, has justified. He said the amount was paid from the Office of the President's budget. As a result, he said the payment was illegal. The project over the last few days has been a subject of controversy following the release of a 25 million Ghana cedis to the National Cathedral Secretariat as additional seed money for the project from the government. The release led to disagreements between the minority caucus in Parliament and the government, whereas the minority insisted that the release is not budgeted for. The government says otherwise.
Now let's get onto the phone lines and speak to the MP, Honorable Samuel Kujeto-Ablakwa. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us here on Newsbeat. The sum of 142 million Ghana cedis, are you saying that it wasn't presented before Parliament?
Good afternoon, Desmond. Good afternoon to all your distinguished viewers across the globe. Yes, I can speak authoritatively to the fact that this 142.7 million Ghana cedis, such a staggering amount, was not presented to Parliament for approval in flagrant and violent violation of Article 178 of the 1992 Constitution. As you are aware, Article 178 provides that no monies can be withdrawn from the consolidated fund. In other words, you cannot touch public funds if you do not have parliamentary approval. And that is why the financial and budget statement of the government is presented to this House, and we go through it line by line. Every government activity must have a provision in the budget. There has to be an allocation. We must know the amount. And you see, the additional advantage of this constitutional imperative is that it allows the people's representative to track, so that if you come for approval to go spend 50 million cedis on a specific project, we are able to then monitor, to follow through and be sure that you have indeed spent the said amount, and you are not allowed to spend beyond what Parliament has approved. So Article 178 of the Constitution has been breached. Then it is also important to emphasize that the procurement laws of our country have also been totally violated in this matter. There was no regard at all for our procurement laws. Then we also contend that Article 1815 of the 1992 Constitution has also been breached. If you look at some of the transactions that we have followed. So you see, Desmond, this is a project that started as the president's personal pledge, where he told the Ghanaian people that he made a personal pledge to God that if he makes him president, he will build a cathedral for him. We were told that it will be a private initiative. They will not burden the taxpayer. That's what we all knew throughout the period. It was not until the 15th of November 2018 that the finance minister came to Parliament and gave some indication that there will now be a partnership. So that was the first time we were seeing a paradigm shift from personal pledge, full private funding, no taxpayer contribution. Now we heard the finance minister saying that it will be a partnership. So we asked them, what does the partnership entail? We want to know, how much is that contribution? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? What is even the total cost? Because there are all kinds of figures flying all over the place. If you read the Financial Times, the finance minister told the Financial Times in London that the cathedral will cost $100 million. The secretary to the board of trustees says it will be $200 million. The deputy finance minister has also claimed $250 million. Others say it's $350 million. You all kinds of figures are being bandied all over the place. So as we speak, Desmond, it is important to emphasize that the president of the republic, the finance minister, is in breach of the constitution. Parliament was not aware. And you see, this allocation we have, this release we have put out is 2020. So when we were considering the 2021 budget, they should have accounted for all these expenditures. They did not. They concealed it.
That these breaches that you have mentioned, what are the consequences thereof?
So when you break the law, you have to be punished. And for public officials, one of the opportunities available to us in Parliament is to remove them from office. That is why you have the vote of censorship, where ministers are removed from office through that process. If it's the president, it is impeachment. Then there's also for the speaker a provision for the speaker when the speaker violates the constitution. So I can confirm to you that as colleagues in the House, we are having very, very serious discussions about what should happen to the finance minister. Already, we have summoned him to come respond to 3 urgent questions on this matter. We believe that the principles of natural justice should apply. He should, at least in the interim, be heard. But that's not all we are going to do on this matter. We intend to go the full hog and activate measures to have him removed from office.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Honorable, for talking to us this afternoon. Honorable Samuel Kudjatu Ablakwa is the Member of Parliament for Nocton. Now let's do some other stories. And the editor of the Insight newspaper, Kwesi Prajunu, says a personal vow by the President to God cannot be a national agenda. He spoke on Good Morning Ghana earlier today.
Sometimes those who claim to be holy, those who claim to be pursuing the interests of God, say things and do things which gives God a bad name. And those who are promoting this cathedral project are actually destroying the image of their God. They are destroying God. They are painting him as an insensitive God. An insensitive God who has no sense of priority. An insensitive God who is egocentric and so on. That's the picture they are painting. And if I were their God, I would be very angry with them. If I were their God, I would be extremely angry with them for destroying my name. If I were their God, my goodness, what I would do to them, they will never forget. They are destroying God. They are destroying the image of God. Let anybody tell me that there is a God, any God, anywhere in the world, who thinks that we should continue sending laboratory samples to South Africa for analysis. Because the little money we have, the 200 million Ghana cedis we have, he wants it invested in a cathedral. What God is that?
But the government spokesperson Eric Amwakuchum insists the National Cathedral will serve a purpose to the nation.
In one breath, you would have people who would express very strong views on certain things that government is doing and would actually be in agreement with this particular position, right? That's why I'm saying that let's leave it, let's continue the conversation. But the reality on the ground is that as we speak, the project itself has commenced, it started. Some resources, I mean, we spoke about the land, has been given out. Some commitment has been made in terms of seed capital and all of those things. What it means is that, I mean, at this point, we have absolutely no option than to ensure that it gets to its conclusion and the fruition of it, right? And what it's meant to do would inure to whoever would take advantage of it and all of those things. And so that is my orientation. And like I said, I admit that, yes, it's still contentious, but posterity would be the judge.
You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro Television. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll do some more stories. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now let's get to our earlier story from the Eastern region, where a 15-year-old basis 6 girl in Ofuase in the Achimansa district and the Ofuase Ayurebi constituency has been sexually mishandled by a group of neighborhood young men on the instruction of her stepfather for her waywardness. There's more in the following report. The victim was said to have left the house on Friday, 27th May 2022 and failed to return home until Saturday morning, provoking the stepfather to organize some boys within the neighborhood to beat her up, only for them to end up torturing and sexually assaulting her in the process. A video showed the 3 boys viciously splashing volumes of water on her, chanting, "Today we will wash a vehicle." One of her assailants, whom the victim consistently referred to as Papa, then began removing her underwear and eventually left her naked. They then marched her into a nearby bush, beating and caning her naked body. A man identified as her stepdad was also captured in the video with a cane with which he also mercilessly whipped the victim. The other boys joined in the beating as they led her back to the house. The victim narrated her ordeal to her uncle, who informed the media. She admitted to leaving the house and spending the night outside, but claimed that she slept at her friend's place.
I returned from my friend's house. The next morning, my mother sent me on an errand. I encountered the boys who told me they had been sent by my father to beat me on my way back. I was brushing my teeth when they started pouring water on me. They broke sticks to cane me while my father watched. He later joined them. I ran into the bush while one of the boys pursued me. He told me if I had agreed to have sex with them, this would not have happened. He started to sexually assault me. They took me home and my father instructed them to put pepper in my private part. I threatened to report them to the police.
Ofuase Ayurebi District Police Commander Superintendent George Bauer, when contacted, confirmed that a formal report had been received in relation to the case. He disclosed that one person in police custody on a defilement case has been identified as a suspect in this case as well. A police medical form was subsequently issued to the complainant to send the victim to the hospital for medical assessment, but the commander added that the victim and complainant have since failed to show up with the results. And we've been trying to get into contact with the DC for the area, but it hasn't been possible yet. To bring you more details on that subsequently. Now to some other stories. And tempers were high in Parliament a while ago over the delay of Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee to submit its report on the Proper Human, Sexual and Family Values Bill to Parliament for debate.
Practice of this House, we advertised to the public. We received about 187 memoranda on this bill, and we grouped them and had held public hearings at the last meeting. Mr. Speaker, the timetable of the committee is that after the public hearing, we will do private hearing, that is in-camera hearing. So the committee retired, and the committee had started the in-camera hearing. Just last week, we had a meeting, one meeting, in-camera meeting. And at all times material, Mr. Speaker, we have invited the sponsors of this bill. Honorable Bejra, who raised the issue in the House last week, was at our meeting and sat through the meeting. So it is surprising that the same person who was aware of what the committee is doing will come to the floor of the House and say that the committee is doing nothing about the bill. I want to set it straight, set the record straight, that the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee is on course so far as bills are concerned. Mr. Speaker, most of the time they would want to find out when we are going to complete the discussion and submit a report to the House. And it's something that I cannot be specific. I can't tell. As we all know in this House, I would pray that nobody in this House, nobody should actually be ceding to the pressures that are coming from outside. Indeed, when this bill was late, most members of the public thought that within 3 days, this bill would be passed. Nobody knew the number of memoranda that had come to the House and the processes that we had gone through. So, Mr. Speaker, I would plead with, if Honorable Bejra had been present, I would have asked him to withdraw and apologize what he has said yesterday.
Away from Parliament to some health-related stories, and Ghana has recorded 5 new cases of monkeypox in the eastern, western and Greater Accra regions. We will update you subsequently in our bulletins.
So far, since the outbreak across in Europe, we've tested 12 suspected cases in Ghana since 24th of May. Currently, we have confirmed 5 cases in 3 regions, Eastern, Western, and Greater Accra. This is where we've found the 5 cases. No deaths has occurred among the cases. One of the cases has been recorded in a Ghanaian who traveled to the United States from Ghana. So, I picked it from here. It shows as fever, some swellings in the armpits and groin with the lymph nodes. We have headaches, muscle aches, and general body aches. That's how we went. And then, of course, then the rash and the blisters will appear. That's how monkeypox is. That doesn't mean that every rash is monkeypox. There's clearly no treatment for monkeypox. Fortunately, it's a mild to moderate case, and so, especially the West African one.
You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro TV and Metro TV Network on Wednesday, 18th August 2021 at 2 p.m. on our Good Afternoon Ghana program anchored by Francisca Forsen aired a publication which was false and caused injury to you. We accept full responsibility for this false publication and the consequent injury to you. We therefore apologize and also retract the said publication, which states categorically that you are not the Very Reverend Joseph Osei, acting dean of the St. Cyprian Anglican Cathedral in Kumasi. We also confirm that you are the Catholic bishop and the immediate past president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference. It is not the intention of the Ignite Media Group or Metropolitan Television or its assigns to confuse you with Reverend Joseph Osei or in any way create the impression that you have ever been the Dean of St. Cyprian Anglican Cathedral in Kumasi, who was to appear on our program to discuss the conduct of an Anglican priest with female students. Ignite Media Group and Metropolitan Television regrets any inconvenience caused and sincerely apologize to you. We will also publish the apology on Good Evening Ghana and on our social media platforms. Well, we take business news now.
It's time to bring you business live on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. And now to our first business story. Ghana's inflation has peaked again for May to hit 27.6%. It recorded a previous price increase of 23.6% for April 2022.
Year-on-year inflation for the month of 2022 stood at 27.6%. This indicates a 4.0 percentage point variation between the rate that was recorded in April 2022 relative to May 2022. As it would be recalled, in April 2022, year-on-year inflation stood at 23.6%, and for May 2022, year-on-year inflation was 27.6%. This literally means that over this one-year period, that is between May 2021 and May 2022, prices of goods and services have gone up by 27.6%. On a month-on-month basis, that is between April 2022 and May 2022, prices of goods and services went up by 4.1%. Disaggregating this inflation rate across food and non-food inflation and also across locally produced items and imported items, food inflation for the month of May 2022 stood at 30.1% and non-food inflation for the month of May 2022 stood at 25.7%. This compares from a food perspective an increase from 26.6% that was recorded for year-on-year inflation in the month of April 2022 to 30.1% for the month of May 2022. In the same way, from a non-food perspective, it has inched up from 21.3% for the month of April 2022 to 25.7% for the month of May 2022.
Now, the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research has launched a fund to empower the poor and digitally excluded in society. The fund can be accessed by vulnerable, the maligned, including women, poor households, SMEs, and other retail businesses.
In partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Retail Financial Distribution Research Initiative will, among other things, seek to bridge the digitalization gap in the Ghanaian economy. Professor Peter Korte is a project lead and director of ASA.
So the launch basically is to expand the digital space, expand access to, this project is to expand access to finance by the poor, the marginalized, through retail distribution networks, that is the Momo agents and all that. Yeah. The idea is that for the majority of the poor, the marginalized, they don't have access to finance, either because of distance or because of bureaucracy of opening bank account and the rest, they are excluded. But you want to promote that so that in the comfort of your home, you can transact business. And that is the essence of this project.
The General Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana, Evans Otumfuo, lauded the initiative and said it will highlight the challenges that confront Momo agents and provide practical solutions.
We are much excited about this launch because we believe that it is going to highlight and then bring solutions as to the challenges that confronts our sector, our operation, i.e. the robbery issues, low motivation, difficulties in accessing funding, costs in operating the business, other government policies that collectively they are not really helping our businesses as agents. I think the outcome of this whole research exercise will be something that will help government to actually frame the needed policies that at the end of the day, it is going to serve as a security for the industry and also to boost our businesses as Momo agents.
The main purpose of the newly launched project is to deepen digital financial inclusion among the vulnerable and maligned, including women, poor households, SMEs, and the retail businesses, by funding research projects through multiple contexts for exploratory studies.
Let's now bring you the latest update from the Forex and commodities market. That'll be all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. We take a break. We'll be back with sports with Phil John Corte.
Welcome back. My name is Phil John Corte, and it's time for sports. Turkish-based Ghanaian international Joseph Atamalawe has dismissed media speculation that he declined a call-up to the Black Stars for the AFCON qualifiers.
I wasn't disappointed because as a player, you always have to be ready to be called. Like you always have to have this motive that you'll be called to the national team when it's time for this what do you call it? The national duties, national assignments, you know. So I wasn't disappointed. Like I have it in my mind that they're gonna call me, but they didn't call me. But it was okay for me because that is it. It happens sometimes, you know. Maybe this is not my time for me to join the national team. But likely on my side, they called me, I think 2 days ago, that I should join the team. But I told me like I'm not fit. And I'm like I came home for treatment because I have a injury problem end of the season. I was having this throughout the season, but I managed to squeeze myself, like, you know, to mental health of my mind, and did everything possible to play and finish the season with it. But after the season end, you know, I had a chat with the doctor, and he told me that I just have to come home, rest for 10 days, and after that I start my treatment. So that is what I'm doing. So I was very sad when they called me to join the national team, and I'm very sad because I couldn't. Yeah, I'm very, very sad.
That's your sports. My name is Phil John Corte. The lady and I are standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. Entertainment is next. My name is Sanaya Tano Abuache. Being a model since age 13, Ghanaian model and actress Jessica Lani has disclosed that the modeling industry in Ghana does not pay enough. Responding to whether there's a modeling industry in Ghana on Metro TV's Entertainment Review, Jessica mentioned that there is an industry, but photography and commercial model pays more than runway.
I think we do, and
the hesitation is
yes, because I don't want to say something that is going to compromise whatever I'm trying to put across.
Sure.
I've been modeling since 13, but I got to a point in time I had to stop because it's not paying.
It's not paying.
Yeah, I mean it's different when you put your passion into it and everything, but I would rather do the movies and know that it's paying. But when it's modeling, it's just one time. You model, and then the next minute, they give you peanuts. I mean, every model will testify to that. So for me, when I got to a particular point in time, I was like, okay, no, I can't do this. So there's more money in photography and commercial model than you doing runway. Runway won't help. If you want to do runway, then you're doing it because you have the passion for it. But don't expect too much money, because here in Ghana, it doesn't work. This is not New York Fashion Week. This is not Paris Fashion Week. You understand?
Yeah.
It's not
Fashion Week.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So when it comes to modeling, shift anybody that wants to get into modeling, you shift your mind to commercial. I mean, adverts pay quite good, but way better than runway.
And that's all on entertainment. My name is Nanaya Tanobwache. Desi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanaya, for bringing us entertainment news. Up next, we do international news. And the West African Regional Bloc says it regrets a decision by Mali's interim government to extend the transition back to civilian rule by 24 months while negotiations between the two sides were ongoing. Mali's ruling junta, which first came to power in an August 2020 coup, issued a decree on Monday fixing the 24-month timetable to be counted from March 2022. The 15-member Economic Community of West African States has been pushing for a shorter extension of at most 16 months. And just before we go, the Ahoy and Edujemfi siblings have criticized the Akufo-Addo-led administration for not reshuffling his appointees as often since 2017. Speaking with Annie F1 in a yet-to-be-aired exclusive interview, the siblings argued a lack of reshuffling may breed corruption.
On record, J. Rawlings in PNDC and J. Rawlings under constitutional presidency is the one who sacked the largest number of his ministers. Largest number of his ministers.
Even under PNDC?
Yes, for acts of misdeeds, falling out of line, and etc. He didn't give a damn at all. He didn't think twice. He will let you leave his job and then you can go. It hasn't happened since then.
5 years of a government in power, not one cabinet reshuffle. Have you heard of it before since you started following? I mean, are all the ministers angels? They don't change them, they don't move them. But don't let's turn this into a discussion of
exactly. But what's the risk of not changing them after 5 years?
No. The thing is, as they say, and that is why all over the world, political ministerial positions especially are changed from time to time.
And the first part of the interview airs today at 2 p.m. on Good Afternoon Ghana. Before we end the bulletin, let's take a look again at our top stories. An MP for North Tong, Okujeto Ablakwa, yet again exposes the alleged release of 142 million cedis for the construction of the National Cathedral. We spoke to him on that particular situation. And families of murdered victims of an armed robbery attack in Kararigu, a suburb of Tamale, last Tuesday, agitated and are demanding full-scale investigation and justice. And we brought you a story from the Eastern region where a 15-year-old girl in the Ofuase Ayurebi constituency reportedly stripped naked, beaten and sexually abused by a gang led by her stepfather. And in business also, May inflation hit 27.6% in latest update from the Ghana Statistical Service. And thank you very much for watching the bulletin. My name is Desmond Okrekudas. We'll be back at 7 with news tonight. But before that, 4 p.m. with News Flash. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.